Once upon a time, two friends joined forces to bring you the best in horror entertainment. Brian from the north, Tim from the south, each bringing their own unique perspective to the horror community. Movie reviews, Blu-ray releases, beer pairings, games, and more. Welcome to your new home for horror. This is Civil Gore.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Civil Gore Podcast. I'm your host, Tim.
And this is Brian. And this is our little, not a mini, I mean, yeah, I guess it can be considered mini-sode, but we're counting it as a regular episode. It's 277. This is basically, we're not going to have a movie this week because, as we like to do, we just watched 31 movies.
Yes, exactly.
So we kind of like this episode where we kind of go through, kind of recap our Halloweens, and then kind of go through some of the fun things for, that we did, like what things we watched for the horror challenge, because then now the horror challenge is over. Speaking of that, we're going to be, when you hear this, first of all, thank you for the people that sent in already. We got some new people, which was great.
Mm-hmm. That was awesome.
So it's send in your score sheets if you haven't. We've already got some in. And what we're going to do is we're going to reach out to you and get your addresses, because we pretty much have prizes for everyone of some kind of prize. So just if you can, once you get that, just send us your address back, and we'll send you out something fun, because we have a lot of cool things that we floating around between Tim and I that we will be happily enjoy giving to all the people that participated.
I think it's going to be kind of a nice little bonus just to thank you for participating in the challenge. So
yeah, because it was fun to see people like really get into it this year. I mean, Jeff, of course, is always a big thanks to him, because like I swear to God, I feel like he does as much work as I do and you do trying to plan this challenge, because the people he recruits and posts about, and
he was such a great promoter for it this year too. I mean, it was thank you to Jeff for heavily promoting it this year, because I think this is definitely our most successful one yet.
And we got more judges ruling questions this year than ever. It was kind of fun. Which shows to me that we gave a good challenge. We made it challenging enough that it required some additional follow-up. I kind of like that.
Another thing that pleased me too is that the new people kind of understood the challenge. Like I always worry, are we making it too confusing, or are we making it too hard or whatever? But I think everybody kind of got into it and got what we were going for. And I think the more of these you do, the more natural you'll start to learn strategies and ways to research and that kind of thing. So thank you all to all that participated in the horror movie challenge this year. It was fun.
Yeah, and again, that was another thanks probably we should give to Jeff Whitmire, because he actually was sometimes jumping in before we did actually, and was kind of answering questions, because he's a veteran of the challenge, so he kind of knew how to explain what things meant, and he had his own struggles, of course, with the certain challenges like that. It's always fun. There's always that one, I think, always that stumps everybody. I think it was the donut one this year. Although you'll get to it when we go through our challenge wrap up. The donut one Tim and I ended up watching the same one for it, and it turned out to be one of a very pleasant surprise of a movie. Yeah. So it's kind of, that to me, that is my favorite thing about this challenge.
Yeah.
Every year you're going to find some kind of gem somehow, and you end up, it becomes like this movie that either you've always wanted to watch and you finally got to watch it and you love it, or a movie you never heard of, but you needed it, and it turns out to be this amazing movie that you love. So
yeah, we'll go through those here in a little bit. But first, we have our first chop. All right, so this one we're going to this first chop we're going to just kind of go through our Halloween catch up. All right, kind of put it behind us, get ready for the holiday season. So for us, we had a fantastic Halloween. We did our usual thing of we set up a table at the end of the driveway. Our neighbor actually brought over some really great bourbons this year for the adults. So if the adults came up, they could either grab a beer out of the cooler, or they could try a bourbon sample, which was fun. The kids, we had tons of full-size candy bars. We had all kinds of candy. We had the music blasting. It was so much fun. The neighborhood, last year, it was weird. The first year we were in this neighborhood, we had nobody. We had 10 people. I think it's because our street was fairly new. I don't think even people knew there was people living down here. The second year, I think Halloween was on a Saturday last year, and so we had a huge turnout, over 100 kids. This year was kind of the in-between. I think people know about it now, but it was a school night, so you didn't have I don't think the crowd was as big. I think more people did kind of off-campus type, trunk or treats and that kind of thing. So we still had a good, decent crowd. I think we had 50 to 60 maybe. And it was just a ton of fun. All the adults had a blast. All the kids had a blast. So that was, and Mia had a blast because she was out there in the yard getting to greet all the kids and stuff. So that was really fun. And then today we kind of did a last gasp Halloween thing. We went to the Galloway Farms corn maze. It's about 45 minutes from here. And it's a corn maze they do every year on this recreational educational farm. You know how you see these from time to time where these farm owners open up their farm and they do kind of educational stuff and field trips and that kind of hay rides and that kind of thing. They have a huge, I can't remember the acreage of this corn maze, but I know I walked 3 miles in it today. So it's a fairly large corn maze. And you might be familiar with some of these, these kind of high-tech corn mazes where they have a GPS app on your phone. So you scan a code at the beginning of the maze, so you can see the maze, and it tracks your progress with a red line behind you as you're going through the GPS, which is kind of neat. And you have to find 10 QR codes hidden in the maze. You don't know where they are.
Oh, cool.
And so you have to track those down. You have to scan every one of them as you get to it. And then you have to exit the maze. And the whole time it's like timing you from the time you scan the start till the time you finish and scan the end thing. So it keeps a track. It puts you on a leaderboard. You get eligible for prizes. It's really cool. And it's a ton of fun. And this year, I will tell you, I may be going after Halloween every year. This is the last weekend they do it. They always hold it for one more weekend past Halloween. And there was nobody there. We had almost the whole corn maze to ourselves. It was so much fun because you didn't have the crowds. You weren't constantly bumping into people inside of the maze. It was really relaxed, really peaceful. The weather was beautiful. So I'm like, you know what? I think next year I'm going to try to shoot for this Halloween after, because I think the demand just goes away after Halloween. And we had a ball. We could bring Mia. It was dog friendly.
Oh wow!
So that was really cool. So Mia did the corn maze with us. That was so much fun. So yeah, I mean, I highly recommend it if you're ever down this way. The Galloway Farms corn maze is there's several in the area. This is the only one I've actually ever been to. But I really enjoyed it, so that was fun.
Yeah, we've done that with holiday lights displays and holiday festivities. Sometimes going after Christmas, sometimes for these things again has the same effect because it's still I know some people are like, oh, but it's after the holidays, my spirit's gone. I'm like, well, why is it gone? Holiday lights you put them up 100 days before. Why can't you go 2 days after? It's like
we did that for the what was that thing in Myrtle Beach? I keep wanting to say Dixie Stampede. It's not the Dixie Stampede though. It's the one with the pirate ships and stuff. It's one of those pirate themed restaurants. It's sort of like Dixie Stampede, where it's like a dinner and a show type thing.
Oh, cool!
But we went one year right after Christmas, before New Year's, but after Christmas that week, and it was the same thing. It was a really fantastic holiday show, but you didn't have you weren't fighting the crowds or anything. It was kind of really nice, actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's the exact opposite experience I could tell you I had at Six Flags Magic Mountain Fright Fest.
Oh no!
Which I'll go through. Should I go in order of that weekend? I guess.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Yeah. So the Friday night, I completed a bucket list item, and I was finally because we've been invited every year, but this year, now that I'm living in California, I was able to go to our good friend Emily Sweet's amazing Halloween party.
This looks so cool.
Which and let me tell you, in terms of just the Halloween spirit and effort and skill that she has at creating these parties are incredible. I mean, because she she rents out a venue and she's got tons of cool things to she's got a theme every year, which is kind of cool. And the invite has a little story involved in it, so you're immediately already kind of immersed in a storyline as you get the invitation, which is pretty cool. Of course, if you've seen on our social media, Julie and I went as Joe, Bob, and Darcy, which is a costume I wanted to go for the last 3 years. We finally got it, and I tell you, we got a lot of
a lot. That might be your heaviest retweeted, reposted, liked post ever.
Yeah, because Tim still has the record at 400 plus for his weird for the what was that movie, the James Wan movie?
Yeah. Oh, was it not Insidious?
The
oh
one
my god!
where it was in the back, the creature was in the back.
I'm totally blanking.
I know, I'm blanking on the name of it now.
Somehow that tweet went viral for no reason. It was the stupidest throwaway line I posted.
It was so dumb.
Yeah.
But I mean, what made this epic was that I saw it immediately. Darcy liked it and retweeted it, and then it's like, oh my god, you look great, happy Halloween, guys, and I'm like, oh my god, all right, I'm like, because Julie was worried about her Darcy, and I'm like, no, I said you came out really good, I said, and here's the proof if you want to see it, okay, look,
you got the blessing of the lady herself.
Yeah, so you can't get much better than that. And then we got some other people saying someone I don't know this one, but the guy said he goes, "Oh my god, I thought it was the real Joe Bob." I said, "Well, you obviously don't know his height in real life."
Yes, you've never seen him in real life, apparently.
Yeah, because I think what did I come up to his shoulder in real life? And,
oh my god, he's so tall.
Such a towering presence. I mean, in life in general, but in actual physical stature. But yeah, I mean, if you saw it, I was determined to make this down to his koozie I found on Amazon, and Julie was able to find Lone Star beer for me to bring, and so Emily's party, though, I mean, she had, this year was a night at the cemetery, and so it was called the Forgotten Souls Cemetery. So she had these hanging, I'm gonna post pictures on it, but I wanted to wait, see if I can grab some more together, but also get after we recorded this episode, I wanted it in context, so once this episode's released, I'll post some more of these pictures. So she had this hanging sign, she had greenery hanging down. She had full-on tombstones that she made. On the floor had this fake this kind of grass and leaves and stuff. So inside the venue, so it was a legit. You felt like you were it was almost like a themed haunt or something. It was that well done. And, she had some amazing games. She had this one game I couldn't figure out, but the two guys that were playing it like Ghostbusters, in the beginning of Ghostbusters, where they were taking these cards and trying to send what card they were holding up. I don't know if that's exactly how the game was supposed to be played, but that's the way they played it. And I got to partake in that. He's like, here, come guess with me. Guess with me. So I tried to send it mentally over to them, but guy did not get it right. But there was no shocking thing. He didn't shock him at the end. Then she had one of the coolest things. She had a lot of cool drinks. She had some cool punch drinks that were there. She had some other drinks you could mix and match and make if you wanted. But she had something called Ghost Roulette. And she took all these tiny bottles of liquor and wrapped it in a tissue and made little ghosts out of it. So you had to pick a ghost, and whatever you got when you unwrapped it, you had to take that shot. And
that sounds fun.
You weren't allowed to trade, and I got Fireball, which Julie's like, oh my god, thank god I didn't get that one, because Julie could not handle that kind of a strong cinnamon thing. I happen to love that drink.
I love Fireball.
Yeah, I was in heaven. I'm like, I'm fine. So we'll post a picture of all of us doing the shots. She had also some other kind of mixed drinks. She had that alcoholic Topo Chico, and she had some even she had Tim's new favorite drink, White Claw, and she had it in it was cool because she had the ice buckets of all the drinks inside a coffin that she constructed, a wood coffin. She had a little stage set up, which I'll get to for the reason why later. She had some other games where you had to toss pumpkins into these things, almost like a carnival game. She also had, which was really cool, she had that the best way I could describe it is a coffin experience, is the way I'll say it. So she had this guy dressed up literally as a mortician standing there. Oh, and she did have there was one of the stages you could have where she had a photographer there that you can go and get almost your prom picture kind of thing. So you can go up and get some cool pictures with the photographer. So I don't think those pictures have been released yet. So she said they're coming soon. So they had this guy dressed as a mortician and a full on made coffin out of wood sitting there. And you get in there, and they close you in, so you're in total darkness. And basically, there are some two hidden speakers in there. And basically, what it was the guy that was playing the mortician is a sound designer for some haunts and movie sets that she knows.
Oh,
and so he had this
cool.
2+ minute audio thing where you're in there, and it's this demon comes, he goes, "You are about to be buried into the earth," and you hear and the way it was set up was so good. It's you heard yourself getting nailed into the coffin, and then dirt being thrown on you, and then the sound of the coffin lowering and everything. And they even had one of the chef's kiss touch I like to say is there was a little bell in there. The whole story about why things are dead ringers.
Yeah.
Because when they used to bury people before they were actually dead, and they could ring it, and then they actually had the little bell in there in case
that's
if you got
cool.
claustrophobic and stuff. So I did that. That was incredibly well done and really cool. It's kind of like, remember we saw that thing at in Wilmington, the coffin ride?
Yeah.
Chris did. Yeah, it was kind of like, but this was like, this didn't move, but it didn't need to because the audio was so perfectly done. This guy's like an audio genius, this guy. So yeah, and there's some great costumes there. We like Emily went as a cemetery statue, which you've seen the pictures of that.
That was so cool.
And every pose she did, she would freeze and look so eerily frozen. And like the touches she did on the costume, like with little like pieces of like greenery onto her face, like so it was old, and she was all green and she had these giant wings and everything, and it was just really cool. And of course we got to meet some people that we know actually through the show, like Jessica Chancellor. Remember she was on for she was in Fear Farm 2, but she was also in 616 Wilford Lane. We had her on, and her husband there were played South Park characters. I always get this wrong. It's like it was the episode Man, Bear,
oh my
Pig
God.
or something,
Yes.
with Al Gore,
Yes.
the Excelsior. That's who they were, and they were great. David Flores and his wife, they were Mario and Luigi. Remember David Flores, of course, came on for Pit Stop, and he did that great audio drama with Emily Shell. There was people, Major Nelson and Genie, someone was. There was, of course, oh my God, Wednesday and Gomez Adams were walking around. They were walking around with these amazing like coconut like gummy eyeballs that I need to get the recipe for because I want to make them for every Halloween. They were insanely good. Billy and his wife Shay, Emily's from Billy. They were like dressed up to the nines in this cool like old like vintage goth outfit, kind of vampire-ish thing. It was really cool. I apologize if I didn't get the if there was a specific name of a character they were, but you could see. I'll post those pictures, it was really pretty epic in there. And then on top of all that, Emily had like full on like entertainment. She had of course, we're friendly with on Instagram. Money, if you saw her Money Music, she goes by on Instagram. She's incredibly talented. So we've always talked to her online, but we got to meet her in person finally, and she did a great song, which I have. I can't post it. It's too long, though. For 4 minutes, so I have to post clips. I have to cut that down. But I want to send some clips of it out there because she, like, her voice is just absolutely incredible. And then Emily even had a, like, this full-on, like, horror burlesque performer come out.
Oh my gosh.
That was really cool. Like she did this whole like I mean it was like the video. It's up. My arm was ready to fall off though. It was like, I think it was like a 14-minute like dance she did, and like but it was just we had the best time. It was like and it was just I was so glad to finally go to one of her parties because I've just heard and seen how epic they are. So one of these years, Tim, you got to come out. You got to make time it to.
I got to do a West Coast Halloween. For everything Halloween out there.
Because the Winchester thing, you got to do this. So, so she's, props to Emily, of course, for, like, even, like, I expected a lot, and she somehow even blew me away even more, like, it was even higher, and so we had a great time. And what was cool is, so there was this coffee shop, right, kind of connected to our hotel, and I thought that's where they were going to have the free breakfast. Turns out that coffee shop is no longer in operation, but it's now used as a movie set. It's called Frank's Coffee Shop, and it was in movies like Larry Crown. It was in War Dogs, the Jonah Hill vehicle. It was in, I think it was in a couple episodes of Euphoria. It's the diner they go to. So that was kind of cool. So we ended up like Lacey staying at a hotel in Burbank there that was like part of film history.
That's cool.
It was right next to it. Yeah, and he says like sometimes the hotel will all be rented out by like the film crew, like whatever they're working on. So that's kind of a cool thing. I should mention actually, did I mention? I can't remember if I mentioned it the last time, but that like amazing like salsa I bought. I gotta post the pictures of that when I got it. It was okay. So it was called Salsa Valente, and I have the I mean we followed each other. That's why Tim's probably like, why is there a salsa company following us on our podcast? That's why, because when I was talking to a guy there, he had there was a little market outside the restaurant we ate for dinner before we went to the party, and this guy, man, I'll tell you, this salsa is like absolutely probably the best salsa I've ever had, and it's amazing.
Wow.
Usually you have to put it in like a refrigerator. This thing will last 18 months out. like in
No
the
way.
closet. Yeah, you don't even need to do it. And if Julie knows why, I'm probably gonna butcher it. It's just the way he makes it. But yeah, and I got this tiny little gift set of salt. It comes with 2 little jars of the super spicy and the regular and the thing, and a little spoon. And I said basically, remember like how much we love the pickle monster? This guy's like the pickle monster of the hot sauces. Like it's like this guy's like salsa. I hope this guy like becomes huge with his salsa, because it's like he should go to just like horror conventions, because people would eat it up there. No pun intended and pun intended. But yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to mention, give him a throw out. I'll shout out, sorry to say, and I'll post some the pictures of the salsa so he can, if you want to follow him. But also, so the next night we went to Magic Mountain Fright Fest, which I've never been to the Fright Fest where I've actually done the houses, crazy enough. Like the last time I ever went to a Magic Mountain Fright Fest was when our good buddy Matt from Yorkshire came to New York years ago. Remember that? That was when we did the famous Tim Tent incident, that whole thing. Julie and I, we have our Diamond Six Flags passes, which now could work for Cedar Fair. We don't know. That's another story for another day. But yeah, so we figured since we were getting in kind of free to the event, we were going to just kind of we splurged and got the express pass for the haunts, which worked well in some cases. I'm gonna go through this really quickly because we're trying to keep this episode short. But what I'm gonna do is just gonna read you the description of the house and give you my little thoughts on it. There was only 8 houses. It's so Saw 10X, whatever you want to say, is basically the experience of Return to Jigsaw as you attempt to survive his ingenious and terrifying traps in the untold chapter of the most personal game yet, inspired by the upcoming release from Lionsgate and Twisted Pictures Saw X. So this was like, it's like kind of like Universal is getting these licensed houses now.
Yeah, that's kind of cool though, for like a regional park.
It was. And now granted, the sets pieces were great, and it was like it kind of spawned the entire history of the franchise a little. It had some very familiar like it had the girl, like one of the girl in the needle pit, remember, from like it was that's 2 or 3, I don't even know anymore, I can't keep track, but basically it wasn't a lot of scares. This one was more one of those just like look and enjoy and be impressed at the set piece houses.
Right, yeah.
So which was fine, and it was the longest house by far. Even with the express pass, we waited almost an hour.
Wow.
And apparently the wait for it was 3 hours, like normally.
Jeez, because of the IP, yeah.
Yeah, and Six Flags, the way they manage lines to begin with, the 3 hours is probably super excruciating. But next one I did is I didn't rank the houses, but I will tell you my favorite at the end. I didn't rank them all, but the next one was the next licensed house. I want to get those out of the way. That was The Conjuring, and it's new dare to enter the secluded farmhouse of the Perron family that has been terrorized and plagued by sinister spirits, inspired by the 2013 film The Conjuring. This one's pretty good too. It kind of it had Annabelle sitting in there, and it. I felt like it was it had some cool scare actors, but overall it's like kind of like Universal, other than like maybe a few things. It's the non-licensed houses that really end up being cool, because I think you're not holding it up to anything, So like with The Conjuring, like it was cool and everything, but like really wasn't. It didn't really have too many scare moments, at least not for me and Julie, and and it was neat. Like some of the scare actors were cool the way they moved around and did stuff in there, but it was more, again, kind of like I'm just going to enjoy the kind of the set pieces to it. Next one was Condemned House Party, and apparently this one was brought back by popular demand. It's extremely short. You could tell that they at the last minute, all right, let's bring this one back, and kind of threw it together. It was kind of dull, actually. A lot of missed opportunities, I felt like there were some cool rooms, but nothing happened in them. So I'm not really sure why, I really don't know what the appeal was to this house that everyone wanted it to come back, unless the last year's was just amazing. Next one I want to go through is Truth or Dare. It says, in a warped game of Truth or Dare, the unknown lurking in the shadows will leave you questioning your every move. This one had the potential to be great. It was so basically you're on this game show that got canceled, and the people behind it, imagine the Truth or Dare, so you can imagine the thing went crazy and started getting revenge on everybody. So the premise is cool, amazing. Yeah. But this had some of the worst line management I've ever seen in a house. They lined you up in little lines when you got to the front, and then made you step around a pole. I'm like, why not just leave where you are and then go in? But I realized why they were trying to group people. because you go in and then you watch like a little like 30-second pre-show room before
Oh
you go into
no,
the haunt.
yeah.
But it just, with Six Flags trying to run it, Universal would have figured out a way to do this much better. This, it was just like ridiculous. You end up standing there not knowing where you're supposed to go. People are getting out of order. They're bumping into each other because they don't understand what they're trying to say, and you get around. But again, I felt like this one just like it was a great premise, but only decent execution. Like, I feel like they could have had so much more to it. But there was a cool thing. Like, you know how they do those inflatable tunnels? Where you're,
Yeah.
like, really, like, they had one of those where you walked in, and it was, like, I guess one of the dare was to sit in a bug pit. So as you're walking through, it was, like, pushing against you with, like, the little bugs crawling inside, so it looked like the bugs were all around you.
Oh,
That
that's
one
cool.
plate was cool, yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, it was, like, I feel like it was a lot of missed opportunities, and the kind of the storyline you could follow a little bit, but then it got a little like kind of like went disjointed. Like I felt like we almost went out of order or something. I'm not sure, but I don't know. This next one is my favorite house, and this was Willoughby's Resurrected. Basically, it's this really cool family's like old house that you walk through. This one was amazing. They like Julie quoted, and she said they took all the double jointed people and put them into this house.
Oh, that's cool.
There were people like crawling awkwardly on the floor.
Oh, I
And
love
one
it.
person was like kind of hanging out of a tub and crawling. And like they were like all like these were some of the ones that had the best scares that popped out. And there was no line. It was like in a weird spot in Magic Mountain. Like if you don't know Magic Mountain, it's a very weird park where there's one part where you have to really climb up high in the middle. It's called Samurai Summit, and there were 2 houses up there, so I think a lot of people just missed these houses or didn't know how to get there or whatever, or just didn't feel like climbing, because it's a climb. You got to either go upstairs or go up this ramp or go up the way, but it's like exhausting. Like for our age people, this is not the walk you want to take multiple times, which we did. But this was my favorite house, and this one goes down in history, Tim. Julie actually got startled by a scare actor.
Oh my gosh.
Which you never thought you'd see the day.
Never,
right?
never in a million years.
Yeah, and what it was is because the way they got her was because there was so much to look at and so many things going on that the scare actors could literally kind of walked up kind of like next to her, and like while she was being like viewing the other thing, she turned and the person was like right there. There was no way not to like, so she got legit startled.
Oh, that's awesome.
That was kind of impressive. Yeah, I almost wanted to like stop the haunt and say, "Can you stop? Sorry, we need to like like they do at the sporting events where like they'll take the puck at hockey for like 100th goal." I feel like I wanted to get the scare actors to sign or something. but yeah, no, that one was phenomenal. That one was really well done. Next one was Vault, and this is not the order we went into, just the next one on the list. Vault 666 Unlocked. This was actually the last one we did, so maybe I would have liked this better if I wasn't so tired at this point. But it was you vanish into the underground world of lost souls and terrifying funnels where evil oozes and creatures taunt, and they had to say presented by M&Ms, which of course took you right out of the mood. But yeah, I feel like they didn't present it as well as they could. I mean, it's still cool. The scare actors in this one kind of had that same gimmick where they'd like jump out at you and you'd walk past them and then they'd come sneaking up behind you and like whisper something in your ear. So they did a good job at really like committing to it, but I think it kind of convoluted the storyline a little bit. So I really wasn't sure the storyline of this other than that you're going to hell, I guess. And I don't know. One more is there's 2 more left. This one was Sewer of Souls. It says the night falls and a thick mist enshrouds the path. You'll find yourself standing before its creaking doors, fearing the unknown that lies beyond. And this one said of additional fee required, but it didn't. So I don't know why it said that unless you changed your mind, or with the Express Pass it got us in. But this is one of those 3D houses where they give you glasses as you walk in.
Oh,
I don't know if you ever did one of those. Effects were kind of cool. One woman had like this contact lenses that became 3D, which was kind of a neat thing because it looked like her eyes were kind of popping out a little bit.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, there were some long inflatable tube tunnels there, and one of these things where it was like this narrow walkway with the glass next to it on the bridge, so it looked like you were like 1,000 feet above, and it was.
Oh, I like those. Yeah.
Yeah, with the 3D glasses made it very disorienting, and I saw people like so hesitant to walk up. I'm like, God, you're really not going to be walking on a pit. Just keep moving, people. But it was still kind of cool, nevertheless. And then this is the final one. This one could have like rivaled the other one because this was one of the more unique haunts that I've been to. It's called Aftermath 2: Chaos Rising. And the description is the city of Ash Valley is threatened with the release of deadly poison. And what it is it's kind of like in the front of the Apocalypse wooden coaster, which is already themed to this like dilapidated city. I mean, they had real fire effects, and this was a long outside haunt where you basically kept walking through rubble, and like kind of like the big apocalypse coaster was over your head. And you were basically touring like a scene that was like of a city that was completely destructed, just like all through rubble. And they had like one part where the fire kept exploding out the door. The scare actors were like buried under the rubble sometimes and would kind of like pop out. They were overhead. There was smoke at the end of this thing where literally no one could see, and you just heard people going, "Oh my god, oh my god!" It was the most disorienting moment in like a haunt I've ever experienced, because it was like this orange mist that was supposed to be, I guess, like they were like decontaminating you kind of thing, and so they sprayed this stuff, and like, but you literally could not see a millimeter in front of you.
Oh, that's cool.
It was so disorienting, but it was really, really cool scene. And the actors were like, one of those ones where you could tell they had a ball in that house, like trying to scare people. So yeah, so that one opened actually a little late, and I have a feeling why, because I think they had to like, there was a lot of actors in there that had to probably take their places, and they had to kind of like, manipulate. Like, it was a confusing haunt. Like I think there's some ways where you could have gone two different paths kind of around stuff. So it was probably a little confusing. So they probably had to get that set up. Quick coaster review. West Coast Racers was great. And Wonder Woman Flight of Courage, which is that big single rail coaster from RMC.
Yeah.
Really, really good. So I guess we'll jump in real quick. Just go through some of our, to finish up the episode, we'll go through our haunts. Our horror challenge. And kind of go through some of our fun ones.
Yeah, I didn't know quite the format, how I wanted to do this. Like, do we want to go through every one, or did we want to go through like just like kind of like what was our favorites, what was our worst, that kind of thing?
I don't know if we need to go through everyone, because the way I figure we'll do it is eventually I always like I always do. I plan to like release like some images and a list of all the movies I watched kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we need to go through everything. I think we just kind of should go through kind of like our favorites maybe, or surprises.
Yeah, we could trade off. Like I'll just kind of go through the list and like mention stuff that I want to mention for whatever reason. Like the first one on my list, actually the first one I watched was called VIY. You've probably seen this one.
Oh yeah. Shudder I think was on. It was on Shudder for a while, right?
Yeah, it was from 1967. It was actually the first horror movie released out of the Soviet Union, and it's really cool. It's about a guy that inadvertently kills a witch. Like, so you know the whole story about like a witch would there's like a whole fable about witches, like they would ride you, like they would enchant you, and then they would ride you like through the countryside like a horse. Then you would like come back and you'd be exhausted, that kind of thing. So it has to do with that.
Kind
like
of creepy.
Yeah, it's very creepy, and so this witch basically does that to this guy, and then she turns herself into like this beautiful woman, and he accidentally kills her, and well, actually purposely kills her, I should say. And so, but anyway, the witch turns into like this beautiful woman. So now it's like all the villagers are like, "Oh my god, you killed this beautiful girl!" And his punishment is he has to sit 3 days with the corpse. Well, of course, her being a witch, she's not really dead. She can come back from the dead, so she can torment him for all 3 of these nights. And it keeps getting more and more crazy. And it's got these really like cheap, but because they're cheap, they're almost creepier effects. And also being Russian, like it has that kind of European creepiness to it. So it's like all this combines to make this really like weird, creepy, fantastical scenes that I just absolutely loved. It was so super cool. Like, you've got to see this one if you haven't seen it. It's nice. Very, very neat. It's got this. Yes, I guess kind of scary and creepy, but also it's got like this fantasy feel to it, like almost like a fairy tale. I really, really liked it. So check out.
I kind of like those.
Yeah, it was really good. That was a big surprise.
Yeah, so I mean, this was one of my favorite ones, but it kind of like, this is the one I started off with too, and that was Mockingbird, which is Brian Bertino, of course, from the Strangers movies that he did, and this one was a cool found footage one. I did this to do the main one was because I wanted a found footage one with a clown, and I wasn't sure Hell House we were going to get that in time.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, I put it. I decided to watch this one because literally the cover for it as like this clown on it. So I'm like, I'm pretty safe to say he's going to be in there. And it was also the one that there's a picture of it where it shows him walking through a grocery store. So I got that weird challenge interjected for it. But it was actually really cool. It was like it was a found footage, but also kind of almost like an anthology in a weird way, where it was like 3 storylines all going on together in a found footage format that basically eventually would kind of converge. Where it's like these couples would get, they say they won this contest that they signed up for in the mall, and they basically won a video camera. And in the video camera, they would start they're basically getting like these instructions on things they had to do. And it was like kind of like challenges, and they had to, or if they didn't do it, someone would die kind of thing. And like, like the one couple, they said, their kids, they said they would take their kids. And stuff like that. So it's really kind of cool. And then one of them was this guy. This was a guy. He got like, not only did he get the video camera, but he got a clown suit. And I guess he's this out of work actor, and he was all excited or something to be a clown. So he had to do all these weird things as a clown.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, like one of the challenges, he had to go to this place and just like randomly pose with kids, which you could imagine would be like people are like, oh, you see all the parents going, who the hell is that with my kid? Kind of thing. So it's like a lot of cool things. There was kind of like tense moments, but that one was pretty cool. But yeah, no, I kind of, some of the surprises, I think, with this challenge. You always find these ones. I think I'll go to the one. We'll do the one that we both liked for the donut challenge. We'll do that one later. But one of the ones. So one of the ones, and this was a Tim objective he came up with, where you had to watch a movie with the same name on it. And thankfully I did. Like, I had a pretty easy one of this because I had never seen the Blumhouse Truth or Dare, and I always knew that a year prior there was another movie called Truth or Dare. And so I'm like, okay, the Blumhouse one will be good, and the other one will be probably like, eh. Well, let me tell you, the Blumhouse one was okay. Okay, I mean, it was what I expected, typical Blumhouse kind of fashion type of, gore, a little bit of gore, I watched the unrated, even though it came out PG-13, but still there was not a lot of it wasn't as as intense as you would expect. The other one from, I guess it was technically 2016, so 2 years prior to this one. The other one made this Blumhouse one look like a Disney movie with some of the stuff that was going on in this. I mean, this one was gory, and I found myself I can't believe it, but I'm actually liking this one better. I thought this would be I wouldn't want to watch it. I'd just suffer through it because for the objective. And it started off kind of super cheesy, but it ended up being so it just kept topping each other with gore and horrific moments, and I'm I grew to respect it so much. I was this is the Truth or Dare movie you should have got with Blumhouse. I mean, there were some oh my god, if you have anything with teeth getting pulled out, you will cringe. Anything with flesh and skin, oh my god, it was just a lot of appendages being removed, and it was hardcore kind of thing. And this one was the little bit different. It had the same kind of twist where it was something was, controlling the game, the game, so to speak. But this one was a demonic entity was basically controlling the game. But it actually ended up having Heather Langenkamp in it, as she was, Langenkamp, sorry, she was someone, I guess, that somehow found a way to change the game enough to survive it. And so she was kind of almost like that, like how Ali Larter was in the second Final Destination, they came to find her, and she was I don't want to help you, go see me. But then they eventually convince her to help, and she gives them tips on how to things where you can find that you can share the dare kind of thing. So it's one person has to do it. And it was really actually ended up coming I'm wow, that's good the way they did that. That's actually pretty clever. The characters didn't make as stupid decision as you would think in this horror movie. So yeah, and I think it's on, I want to say it's on one of the free services, Tubi or Plex or one of those. But I definitely checked that one out and compare it to the Blumhouse one, because not to diss Blumhouse on this one, but this is what that movie should have been.
I had some other surprises here. I had one of the big ones. I know you know about this one, Brian, is Snake Out of Compton.
Yeah,
from 2018,
which I almost watched.
Oh my god! Again, it's one of those low. It's super low budget. It's got some. It's very silly. There's an Urkel, obviously a Steve Urkel type nerd character in here, and it on the surface, it looks like it's going to be like this stupid, dumb, like scary movie type, like, bad CGI snake type movie. And of course, it takes place in Compton. So there's a whole hip hop aspect to it. But I tell you, there's something about this movie, like the characters in it and the actors are so likable. And it's just, I don't know. I don't want to, like I want to call it charming for some reason. I know that doesn't like jibe well with like the whole motif of this movie, but I found it really charming. Like, it was funny. The characters were super likable. There was like a lot of heart to it. Like, there's a good story to it. I don't know. It just totally blew me away how much I enjoyed this movie, which I thought, again, was going to be like one of those, like you said, that you just kind of suffer through. I could see this being a to-be trap and we just giving it to each other, thinking, oh my God, you're going to have the worst time with this. And then all of a sudden you're like, I really like this movie. Like, this is really, and I think I even posted it, and the director followed us or
yeah, he did. They did.
Which I was super excited about, because I was like, I genuinely really enjoyed this movie, so I thought that was really cool. So check out Snake Out of Compton from 2018. It will surprise you.
Yeah, and they had there were some other really like kind of like cool the ones that I found in there. I mean, of course, some I used for the that I used a week. I kind of got like brought to our attention, like Kill Her I watched, and of course I loved, and then same with of course Hell House I loved when we saw that. I think two of the bigger ones that are kind of decent movies in terms of like in popularity already was The Pale Door. Which did you see? I can't remember. Did you see that one?
No, I didn't see that one. That was one on my list I'd totally forgotten about.
Same with me. It's been on my list forever. I needed the Western one. I'm like, oh my God, why don't I just watch this for God's sake already? It's like, and of course we had Aaron B. Kuntz on a couple of times already for the Scare Package movies. So I was like, I got to watch it. And I love this one. Oh my God, you will love this one.
Yeah, I need to watch this one, because I'm glad you brought it up, because I totally forgot. It was on my list.
This one was great. It's just a great horror Western. Such a cool plot idea, just a great execution, great characters in it, great acting. It was awesome. And then the other one, which is just probably the most mainstream I think I might have watched in here, was Renfield, which of course I've been dying to see this, and I even held off on the Kim and Ket episode until I could watch this first, and then I went back and listened to their episode. Wow, this one, I freaking love this movie. I mean, of course, you get to Nicolas Cage, but like I'll quote Kim Burns. It's like, this is more like Nicolas Cage is like not like the crazy Nicolas Cage, but like the Nicolas Cage, like I forgot the term she used now actually, but like it made perfect sense. Like
he's actually a good Dracula. Like he's a legitimately good Dracula. Like I was expecting, like you said, like the spoof, the over the top. Which he is still kind of over the top, but it's like, it's done so it fit the tone of the movie, and I thought he was incredible. Like, I would almost want to see him do like a serious Dracula movie. Like, that's how good he was.
Yeah, and like that kind of made me think back. It's funny because like remember the rumors of him going to be Superman? And I said, oh my God, how is he going to be Superman? Yeah. Now after seeing this, I think this guy could do anything.
I think he could.
I think anybody. He could. He's that good. And then I'm trying to think. We'll look at that one. We'll go to that other one we like. One of the ones that I've always been on my list, and I watched it, and I know you saw this already, and you've been raving about it forever. Was Terrified.
Yes, that's
which was oh my God! But I tell you, it just shows movies from this country are always better. not from this country, always better.
Yeah.
Because I absolutely this one kind of like just blew me away on how good it was. Super creepy, just super creepy. And now I see like Smile like stole something from it. That like head, where the head was like hanging down the neck.
Oh yeah.
The head was there. I mean, basically stole that.
Yeah, I think that's why maybe I didn't like Smile as much as some people, because it felt so derivative of other movies I'd already seen that I liked better. But that's a tale for another day. But anyway.
Oh, and I posted that Airborne I loved because of Over the Top Mark Hamill, which was awesome in it. Which great. And I think there's one we need to discuss, Tim, because we both kind of like, is when I actually own this movie, but I didn't have it on digital, but so it's still buried in the box. So I had to like find it on I think it was on Freevee. And we both watched it for the same reason. and I know we both really surprised by it. And that was Horns
Yeah,
with Daniel Radcliffe. That I don't think I knew what it was about, and even when I read it, I'm like, this will be okay. I love this
I
movie.
loved it. I thought it was
Right?
excellent. Yeah.
Was this might have been probably overall my biggest surprise, just because I think my expectations of it, like not really even understanding what the plot was going to be about per se by the description, and just like the whole premise of it was so cool. Freaking Daniel Radcliffe is awesome. I mean,
He's so good in this too.
yeah, so good. I mean, there was some good gore in it, some cool thing. Just some cool moments overall. It had heart. It had it was like a romance going on in story behind it all. I mean, it really was like way more levels to this movie than I thought when I first saw it. And I'm so glad I own it.
It's a good blend of fantasy horror too. Like you don't like pure fantasy. I'm talking about like it just had that fantasy element to it. I thought was really. Again, that's one that I knew about forever since 2013. Right. I've known about it. Yeah. It's always kind of been on my list to watch, but it's one of those like I'll just get around to it because I kind of know what it's going to be. I kind of felt like I already knew the story. I already knew, okay, it's just kind of predictable. And I was completely wrong. I was completely 100% wrong. I should have known better, considering it's a Joe Hill, which I love. But
yeah, you almost forgot all that.
Yeah, it's almost like I just kind of forgot all that. I just kind of had it on the back burner. I'm with you. I was completely blown away by it. Another one this was a big surprise. I don't know if you ever see this one, Brian. Madman from 1989.
I'm wondering. I may have seen it, but it's like one of those ones I'm not sure. I'd probably have to start watching it again to tell.
This one. I mean, I'm telling you, like most of this movie. I'd say about halfway through the movie, I wasn't particularly impressed or anything with it. Yeah, I thought it was kind of slow paced. The villain was really super creepy for a movie this old. Like I thought it was a very well done villain. But by the time I got to the end of this movie, like the ending is so bonkers crazy. Mm-hmm. Like it turned me into a complete fan of this movie just from the ending. Oh, nice. Like it was so wild. Like it's one of those movies like I started off so slow. Okay, it's okay. Oh, actually, this is kind of cool. And then the ending is like, oh my god, I love this movie. It was one of those kind of roller coaster rides. So definitely check out Madman from 1989.
Well, another quick one that I love too, and then we'll go. Then I figure I hate ending on a bad note, but we should go through our biggest dud of the challenge. Yeah. But it's kind of funny. But this other one that like kind of surprised me was I never seen it was the Frankenstein from 2015. It was more that modern take on it.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that one? Have you seen that?
I think I have. I don't remember a whole lot about it. I've seen I want to say I did.
Yeah, it's really kind of cool. It's kind of like totally like a modern day version of it, like where there's like even there's the sequence where with the girl in the water kind of thing, but all modern day things. But then like I was like, wow, this is kind of like a little weird to start, but then it really got good, and then like it went to another level of enjoyment once Tony Todd came in, who plays this like kind of like blind like homeless guy that like kind of befriends him, and kind of sees that he kind of tried to have heart and he tried to help him out, but it was just like Tony Todd like liked and retweeted my tweet about
that was huge,
which I was like, oh my god. And I swear to God, I know when he hits I said this before, but I think when he sees like a tweet he likes, he probably goes, I like, and he just hits it, yes, he does it.
I like,
but and yeah, so that like blew me away that he like liked and retweeted it. I had a good like and retweet period here in the last couple of weeks, but yeah, and he made it like so much, like he just added so much to it, so that was another good one. But I think we got to go through, because there's always in this challenge, there's always some duds, there's always like what we call the one and done roller coasters for the credit,
one and done, never ride it again,
our other hobby. Yeah, so what was your real duds in this year?
Ooh, let's see. I will have to say it's getting harder as the years go by to not see more bad movies than good, because you've seen all the good movies.
Right.
But I'm thinking of, when I say dud, I'm almost thinking of like disappointments. And I know you like this movie a little bit more than me. I was disappointed in Pet Sematary Bloodlines.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
I know why, and I get why you did, like, I know why you didn't like it, and you're right. The whole no main accent thing is unforgivable.
Yeah.
But I think I think I liked the lot of the roles in it, and I liked that like it was entertaining to me enough. That I actually kind of enjoyed it, even though, like, yes, it was a little irritating that nobody had Maine accents.
Yeah, so I mean, but I kind of expect. I mean, it wasn't like I expected that one to be fantastic going in. So I can't. It's hard for me to say that was a disappointment. It was about what I expected.
Yeah,
I think maybe the biggest disappointment, and Cody's going to kill me for this one because I think she likes this movie. But at the same time, I think it's one that could grow on me. That was Repo the Genetic Opera. Like, I fully expected I would love this.
I like that one. Yeah, I was surprised to see you didn't like that.
I fully expected to like this one because I love musicals. I love Anthony Head in anything. And so I was really looking forward to this one. And I just, for some reason, when I watched it, it did not click with me at all. Like, at all. I did not care for it at all. But then, like Cody posted, like, that GIF of one of the sequences, and I was like, oh, I remember I really like that sequence. So it's like, I could see, like, I think this one will grow on me. Like, as I got more familiar with the music and stuff, like, I could see, like, this one becoming, like, a cult favorite. Because that's happened before with movies where I watched it again and I end up loving them. So that one may still fall in that category. I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to say. I didn't really have any big disappointments this year. I had some movies that were bad. Like, I had the one I watched for the less famous actor or less famous sibling one. I watched one called Blood Type, and it starred Patrick Swayze's brother Don Swayze.
Oh my god! I don't think I even heard of a Don Swayze.
Yeah, and this one's from 2019, and he resembles his brother, but definitely not the same caliber actor. But this was like a weird, like, it was short. It was like maybe like an hour long vampire movie, which the premise was kind of cool, but it was one of those that's like, ugh, like, I don't know, it didn't it didn't jive with me at all. The rest of them, actually, I did have a lot of disappointments. There were, and really, maybe another one that I would kind of put on the disappointing list was Morgan from 2016. This was a Anya Taylor-Joy vehicle. Right after she had done The Witch, so she was still pretty young. And this one was very Megan-ish, like it was an AI. She played an AI. And I thought I would like that one a lot more because it had Toby Jones in it. That's why I watched it for the Toby Jones, because he was in an Indiana Jones film. So it did that objective.
Yes.
And I love Toby Jones in anything. So I was really looking forward to that one. And that one, I don't know, that one just didn't really jibe with me either. So maybe that one you could list as a disappointment. So yeah, I mean, I have to say I kind of got lucky this year. I don't think I had any that were like super, super bad, like unwatchably bad, which has happened in past years. I'd say most of them were more middle of the road.
Yeah, I sadly had a few, and that was my own doing because I watched Amityville Death Toilet.
I knew that one was
I think it was by the same people somehow that somehow were I think behind those other Death Toilet movies you made me watch. What was the one? Was it Death Toilets like that?
Oh,
I watched? What were those ones?
Blood Fart Lake or something?
No, not that one. It was the one literally about the killer toilets. Remember, I had to watch 1 and 2. You made me watch.
Oh yeah. I remember what you're talking about.
It was like killer. Yeah, it was like that. It was like that level. But I'm like, okay, there's guaranteed someone's gonna take a crap in this and then die. So that's why I picked that. And it was that one was excruciating, and it was way longer than it should have gone. And the worst part is the guy, like, I think Jeff Whitmire used it because the guy did have a box of cereal in it. It was weird. It was like this guy was like trying to live stream, but it looked so awkward. That one was excruciating. And then that Medusa one I watched, which now seems to be getting like a big like thing about it. I see it's like a couple of other streaming services. But it was like, I'm sorry, you can't call a movie Medusa, have that poster, and then literally have her actually as Medusa for the last like 8 seconds of the film. I'm sorry. I mean, yes, it got me the objective, but still, I mean, come on.
They got you to watch it, though. You can't fault their business model.
No, it got me to watch it, but remember I showed you guys the effects of it, where it was just like literally snakes behind the thing. And we know someone who played a Gorgon.
Yes, that's right.
Excellent, and our friend Emily, and she, like, as someone who has played an amazing Gorgon, we looked at that and watching this woman do this bad effects of didn't even have practical effects to it. No, unexcusable. So Emily is the true Gorgon to us, in terms of cinematic portrayal. And I think, that was probably the most, like, in terms of, like, excruciatingly bad one. Although Big Freaking Snake was that was part of my Bring Stevens. It was part of the guy, like, the Ganja and Hiss one. This thing was, like, it's the funniest thing. The only snake that's big is, like, in it for the first, like, 3 seconds and, like, some weird, supposedly recap of a movie that we hadn't watched yet. I don't understand it. It was like the 58-minute long, so it was the Cody challenge too, and it was short. So I got somehow I ended up claiming literally like 4 objectives on it or something like that for the 58-minute movie. And it was just so excruciating because it was just basically other snakes killing people. It wasn't even a big freaking snake. So I don't even know where they got the title from. But yeah, so I had some duds in there.
I mean, I finished these like fast. Did you see how fast I finished this horror challenge?
Yeah, you went crazy. You were like done in like before like mid-October.
Yeah, I was done before the 15th. I think I was done on like the 12th.
Yeah, but you had to based off your schedule coming up.
I had to.
You had to do it.
Yeah, it's kind of like I went crazy. I like so front loaded it. Like in hindsight, I probably didn't need to be that aggressive. But I was so scared my schedule was going to be so booked up that there was just no way I was going to not be able to. So I was like watching literally 3 movies a day. Trying to get this done.
That was impressive. Well, I did watch Renfield on the drive home from LA. Like Julie drove that leg, and I watched Renfield.
Yeah.
So I was fitting stuff in where I could. I hope everyone enjoyed the challenges because it's always fun. It's always one of my favorite times of the year. Just like it, I think it like always just adds something so cool to your Halloween watching thing. And I did watch my traditional movie on Halloween since I had watched the original Halloween a couple of weeks earlier with Joe Bob's thing. Normally I'll watch that in Trick or Treat. But since I had to finish up the horror challenge, and I had just watched Halloween at the Joe Bob thing, and I figured that's not going to be topped because that was such a fun night to watch it with everybody. I just watched Trick or Treat on Halloween Eve as my usual tradition, which is always a classic. And actually listened to our friends over at the Spooky Chicks and Horror Flicks because they did a great episode on Trick or Treat.
Yeah.
And that's, of course, one of the ultimate Halloween movies. And they just got some news. The sequel now is
finally
really moving forward.
Finally.
So,
yeah, I'm so looking forward to that. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little kind of Halloween recap as we head into the holiday season. We got some fun stuff coming up. Thank you for everybody that participated in the horror challenge because this is making it the biggest and best we've had so far. All right, guys. We'll see you back here soon.
See ya.